he has been removed off the company. And he is the company, you know, like I don't associate Project Veritas with any of their other, whatever, no-name investigative journalists who just do catfishing. But it's like, oh yes, I'm a journalist. What do you do? Well, I take people on dates, get them very drunk, and then after the 5th date, I try to see if they'll say anything potentially incriminating to sleep with me, to have sex with me. So because they want that sweet, sweet sex, they may say a thing or two after a couple Chardonnays, but we'll have to wait and see. It doesn't always work out, but I'm a journalist, again. If you haven't followed the James O'Keefe saga, he is an asshole, and he has made a career out of being a professional troll. He's one of the reasons internationally, I'd almost say, sometimes people are like, well, what really blurs the line between journalist and guy who pays people and then says the story happened when it didn't? What's the line between journalist and guy who tries to tap other people's phones illegally and then is taken to task for that? Like, where do we know? How will we ever know what the difference is? He's really just telling the stories. He's brave. Now, it also turns out he was running a kind of feces soaked empire, which is absolutely, and if it's true, because the allegations made by one of the previous employees, for example, said that it was some super weird, you know, drug abuse happening rampantly all the time. They were doing so much fucking, I think, blow on a boat that they all like shit themselves. And then they were just like shitting all over the boat. Just really weird ass fucking tons and tons of shit. And also he dreams, and always dreamed, of being a theater kid. He's like the little boy who could. And not could shit, I'm talking about the fact that he could be in a musical of his own life. And that's, I think, what Project Veritas, that's been his dream and goal all along. He's a superhero of his own design, and he gets to turn himself into a musical, and has, yeah. He didn't play in Vegas because the venue ended up canceling when someone called in to ask what exactly the price for the VIP tickets would be, because they didn't actually know who he was, and when they found out, they actually canceled it. But he did get to change it to Miami, and he did his musical there, and it's the story of his life. He has been let go. He has been removed as the CEO of Project Veritas, in large part due to the fact that they felt he was siphoning too much of the money that they get. A lot of it comes in donations. A lot of right-wingers love the shit he does because they think that he's basically exposing Ilhan Omar of committing voter fraud, even though that story was completely debunked, like everything they do. They're just fucking liars. Like, the closest they've ever come to actually publishing stories is when they catfish people. Like, they just turned into a catfish thing. They go on dates with low-level employees in companies or corporations, or maybe sometimes employees who aren't even working for that company, like say Pfizer, and then after the fact get catfished, they go on like multiple dates, and then they film the whole thing while the person's drunk. And like in certain cases, like the Pfizer one, the guy said he was lying in that same video, in their video. He's like, oh no, I was lying. I was, yeah, this is not, I was lying on a date. So, I mean, which one is it? Is the person fake? Did you hire an actor again? Because it could be, you do that. Did you hire an actor to be in that scene? And at that point, that part was scripted? Were they just lying the whole time? Were they lying effectively at that moment, but only in that moment? But everything else was true, especially all the wild things about Pfizer. Anyways, he has been let go.
There were tactical disagreements about the boldness of approaches soliciting donations. I was told, and I'm paraphrasing, by asking for X dollars right now, you will prevent 10X dollars down the road. That advice ran contrary to everything I knew to be true in my 13 years of fundraising. But that conflict was even more fundamental, and essentially boiled down to this, and my vision, I'm going to paraphrase Howard Rourke, the architect, quote, I don't build in order to have donors. I have donors in order to build. That's what I believed, and I felt like we had a conflict of visions. We measure our success in terms of what we produce, not just in terms of our wallets. That was a pretty fundamental conflict, I felt.
It's been a while.
The day prior...
Y'all, it's been a long time. We haven't crab danced in a while. I hope you have your claws ready.
I had informed him in front of his colleagues that if he wasn't willing to follow my Veritas, that he would go to the board in a few hours at that moment and have an emergency vote to restructure this company. Receiving an agenda in my email while I was sitting on an airplane tarmac with the doors closing. The meeting was scheduled for the moment that my plane landed in Nashville. It became clear to me at that moment I would be removed from my position at Project Veritas by the time I landed at my destination. So, our mission continues on. I know. The mission will perhaps take on a new name, and it...
Yeah. He's obviously going to make a Project Veritas 2. Of course he is. And Project Veritas 2 is going to get to the bottom of this and figure out all the crimes and corruption of Project Veritas 1. Rest assured, yes. Again, it's hilarious. This lifelong professional troll who has been lying for, I'm sure, fuck tons of cash, by the way. How much stuff gets probably poured into a business like this from conservative and right-wing, ideologies, companies, what have you. They're taking down CNN, they're taking down Pfizer, they're taking down, this is the only outfit that, brave, tell the truth. Even Glenn Greenwald says that you should be brave, and James O'Keefe is actually a journalist. It's like, no, the dude, like, wanted to live his truth. He wanted to be a star. And be a theater kid who grew into a big star, a big shining star. And he found something that started to work. He found that when he would say, really try and do this kind of quasi fucking racist vilification of black people by pranking Acorn and getting them to say things on camera and all this kind of stuff, pretending to be a pimp, like that he was going to suddenly, like, you get on Fox, everyone starts paying attention, he becomes a household name, like an addiction, he keeps doing it. He eventually went too far and did in fact break some laws, but he kept going, kept doing his thing. He was brave, and behind the scenes, he was siphoning the money into musicals, into musical numbers. Like how... It's just, again, it's story after story that is coming out these days where I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, it was wild enough to hear behind the scenes, it's like some massive drug, sex-filled, actually, to be honest, the sexual kind of harassment / assault environment, that doesn't surprise me. Of course, all the fucking weird-ass right-wingers are going to be massive-ass sexists and do fucked up shit. But the drug-fueled, like, shitting parties, where they would, like, just shit massively on a boat in front of each other, that's not what I expected to learn. I mean, allegedly, of course, I should add that in everything else. But now this, now the like, he has been removed off the company. And he is the company, you know, like I don't associate Project Veritas with any of their other, whatever, no-name investigative journalists who just do catfishing. It's like, oh yes, I'm a journalist. What do you do? Well, I take people on dates, get them very drunk, and then after the 5th date, I try to see if they'll say anything potentially incriminating to sleep with me, to have sex with me, because they want to have sex with me. That is one of the things that they're hoping to achieve in this relationship between the two of us. Eventually, we'll be having the sex. So because they want that sweet, sweet sex, they may say a thing or two after a couple Chardonnays. But we'll have to wait and see. It doesn't always work out. But I'm a journalist again.
May be no longer called Veritas, Project Veritas. I'll
my deepest apologies.
Meet a bunch of people on the road. That advice ran contrary to everything I knew in my 13
Yeah. Bye, Bozo. So excited to see what comes next. Project Veritas 2. Project Veritas. The sequel.
That was a pretty fundamental conflict, I felt.
But, like, by the way, the Crab Rave aside, yeah, of course, the audacity to just stand there and talk as if you have any kind of nobility. Like, you're a troll. You're a highly paid troll. That's it. That's it. You get to go from this to living under a bridge. That's all there is to it. There's nothing more.
There were tactical disagreements about the boldness of approaches soliciting donations. I was told, and I'm paraphrasing,
The disagreements were that you're fucking embezzling the money to do musical theater about your life. That's the disagreement. And fair dues, just because it's not your stated purpose, it's not your mandate. And we've seen it too. Like I've watched his music videos before. They're fucking atrocious. The guy is just basically a Michael Jackson wannabe and clone who weaves politics. Like think Michael Jackson, but not talented and just right wing. That's basically it. That's the entirety of his musical theater experience / when you watch them. If you want to make a musical, why not just reach out to George Santos? He directed Spider-Man. True. You're not wrong. He did direct Spider-Man. He's the savior of us all. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arnie, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.